Hey guys! Okay, we're getting started now. Me leading a youth circle. Hey everyone! I hope you are well, or as well as you possibly can be, given the circumstances of existing. My name is Jasmine Kylene. I'm a spiritual counselor, I'm a journalist, I am a human being doing her best with what she has, and I will say that I'm so happy to just be doing this today because last time I made a video I was emotionally unwell and I was hoping that by the next time I did a video I would be in a better place, and I am. And it's only really been a week, so just goes to show you how quickly emotions die and are reborn within the same breath, it seems. But I just finished making a TikTok and a reel about when you're sort of like in the beginning stages of doing goddess work, or when you are embarking on any sort of divine feminine healing journey, and how to incorporate or figure out which goddess to work with within that journey. So I figured I would make the YouTube version. My friends casually texting me, what does the color orange represent? I love how everyone knows my role in their life. So I figured I'd make a really quick video just about some simple steps that you can take to start this journey of finding which goddess to work with, or rather, which goddess wants to work with you. So I want to talk a little bit about why it is that you would even want to work with a goddess, because what I preach so very often during any goddess activation workshop that I do is that we are the modern day goddesses. The roles and the archetypes that they played in the societies that they lived in functioned relative to that time period, but now that they are sort of leading us beyond the boundary of what we can see, we are assuming those same roles and positions and archetypes within our physical modern day societies, right? So we're the ones that are sort of like leading this divine feminine healing, hopefully revolution and evolution, and we're the ones who are sort of mirroring each other. We are currently doing the work and we're leaving the footprint for the generations that will come after us to sort of follow in and to be led by the energies and the legacies and the ways that we honor and stand in our power right now. So the same roles and the same stories of the archetypes of goddesses that we follow from back then, our ancestors honestly, we're playing those same roles in society right now. So it's really important that not only we assume this like position of leadership that we inevitably have to do because it's time, and if you know that like it's time, but we also want to make sure that we are honoring the goddesses that came before us by allowing them to sort of heal us in terms of like, what does it mean to be empowered, what role and what like job is it that I have to do, how can I pour into like the collective dharma, how can I do my work as a goddess, as an activated goddess. So it's really important that if you are embarking in any sort of like divine feminine healing, or if you're simply wanting to sort of like step into what it means to be an activated goddess, that you are working with the goddesses that came before you, that guide you, that lead you, that are in your ancestral lineage, and that ultimately just want to work with you. That's why, you know, that's why. So the goddesses that came before us, they did everything that they could to sort of break society's molds and to stand firmly in what it meant to be a woman or a woman identifying, and to stand in their feminine power. So our version of that relative to the society that we are living in now, so you know, social media and I think a much more open dialogue in relationship to like queer identity and even racial identity and like all of that, I think is really important because we are functioning in a very, very different society, and it's important that we are empowered as we possibly can be. So working with a goddess or goddesses is really important when it comes to that empowerment. It is how you connect to where you come from, to who you are outside of conditioning, which I think is really important. I think anytime we're stepping into a position of empowerment, we're doing a lot of unlearning, and so these goddesses, I think if there's any main role that they play in terms of our healing, it's what is it that you've taken on that isn't yours, and how can you come back to like the anchored center that is you are absolutely enough and everything that you need to be in order to excel in whatever it is that you want to create or become. I'm just saying words, but whatever. So for me personally, I work with a lot of different goddesses. I think like Hathor was kind of like my introduction into goddess work, and since then I've worked with like Yemaya, I've worked with Isis, I'm currently working with Miss Oshun, honey, which is why I have sunflowers and like a bunch of Oshun offerings literally everywhere. I've been wearing a lot of gold. She's been doing it for me, guys. I really needed to work on, I think, confidence and feeling like I was capable of reaching my maximum potential. And I think allowing the vision of what that maximum potential is to be limitless, and then B, thinking that I was capable of like even assuming that role. And so I say that to say that I think the very first step one should take when they are trying to figure out what goddess to work with is sitting back and reflecting, where are you in life right now? What is it that you need more of? What is it that you need to work on? Are you working on sexual healing? Are you working on confidence? Are you working on, inner child healing? Are you working on your advancement in career, right? Wherever you fall in sort of like, this blurry journey that we're all on, whatever it is that you need more of in this given moment, really get clear on that, really be honest with yourself about it, and then go and look into the goddesses that represent whatever that thing is, right? So for instance, like I said, I was in a place where I really needed to work on my confidence and just how much I believed in myself. And if there's any goddess that really represents that, it's Goddess Oshun. She embodies what it means to just be abundantly sure of yourself all the time, without relying on any like external validation or opinion. So I've really been working with her, and honestly, it's helped immensely. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just like, you really cannot tell me shit right now, and that's all Oshun. So thank you, my queen. So yeah, so really get clear on what is it that you need, and then figure out which goddess can offer you that. It's also important to note that something I love to do is to visualize, who am I when I'm living my utmost goddess activated potential, right? Like, who am I when I am fully sure of myself, when I'm fully empowered, when I'm fully in my power, when I'm loving, when I'm present? Who am I when I'm just fully in my goddess activation? Really have a clear image of who that is, and then go and look at different goddesses and see which one embodies that energy the most viscerally, the most accurately, right? So if you in your full goddess activation is someone who is incredibly intelligent and witty and adventurous and brave, find a goddess who embodies that, which I think would be like, I want to say Athena, but is that the warrior goddess? I get confused sometimes. But yes, find a goddess that represents that. Or if you think you and your power is someone who is very, very sensual, someone who is very romantic, someone who sort of just floats by and everyone is enamored by them because of this like sense of self-assuredness and love that you outpour, look into the goddesses that would represent that energy. So like Aphrodite, or even like Juno or Hera. Like, are you more of a mother archetype when you're in your power? Look into whoever would represent who you are when you are at your utmost potential, and work with that person so that they can bring you to that utmost potential. The second thing I would recommend you do is a really intentional meditation. So like, sit down and say, okay, my intention with this meditation is to be shown which goddess wants to work with me. And then just sit there, allow your mind to go into some sort of autopilot, get in tune with the present moment within your body, and just pay attention to whatever signs, symbols, colors, totems, whatever comes to mind. It could be an element, it could be an animal, it could be a thing, it could be a food. Just pay attention and just take mental notes of whatever organically comes through. And then afterwards, look into which goddesses are represented by that symbology, right? So for instance, if you are meditating and you have this intention to be introduced to which goddess wants to work with you, and all of a sudden, throughout some time of sitting there, you see honey or sunflowers or cardinals, or even, I think there are so many like moon goddesses, like moon archetype goddesses. So like, whatever it is that you see, just hold on to that, and then when you come out of your meditation, just start your research, go on the internet and see which goddess is represented by this thing. And I'm sure obviously there are a lot of overlaps, so there will be multiple goddesses that are represented by roses or by the moon, but then within that context, see which one you gravitate towards the most, let your body sort of like take you for the rest of the way, and then work with that goddess. And when it comes to like actually working with a goddess, I think that's maybe a different video, but a part of it is making sure that you incorporate that symbology within your physical environment, right? So for instance, I am working with Goddess Oshun, so I have a sunflower. I bought a notebook with sunflowers on it. I've been wearing a lot of yellow. I've been like drinking like lemon water every single morning. So I'm really, really intentional with making sure that the things that represent this goddess, the things that make this goddess feel the most at home, are very present and very in my environment, because that will invoke her energy for me to step into as well. So that's like part of what it means to work with a goddess, which obviously there's a lot more, but you're gonna have to attend my workshop or do a one-on-one with me for all that, baby. Period. And of course, I think something that is super important to do when you're looking into what goddess can I work with is to look simply at which goddesses show up within your ancestral heritage, right? So wherever you come from, or wherever your family comes from, or wherever your bloodline sort of or wherever your bloodline leads to, see which goddesses show up. So for instance, China has Kuan Yin, Nigeria has Oshun. There are so many different goddesses that come from every single ethnic background, every single culture, and it's important to, of course, allow yourself to explore different cultures and different voices and different faces to the goddess archetype. But if you're looking for one to specifically lead you, at least on the beginning of your journey or wherever you're at in your journey, then looking for the ones that show up in your own sort of like ethnic history, I think would be a really beautiful way to step into that. So yeah, just look at, you know, where does my family come from and which goddesses show up in our stories, and see which one you gravitate towards the most, which is honestly why, I mean, it's one of the many reasons why I think Oshun has shown up so pronounced for me. I'm also working with Kuan Yin right now, who shows up in Chinese history. So I have this, not sponsored, but we will promote, Kamaya Healing. She has this like Kuan Yin spray that I'm actually gonna go ahead and spray that right now. Yes. Oh my God, it smells so good. And she's been helping me a lot in terms of like doing some paternal healing and a lot of stuff, but I will say that something that made me gravitate towards Oshun a lot is the fact that within my paternal healing, funny enough, I'm really connecting to my relationship with my Nigerian blood, and obviously that is where her origin story stems from. So I think working with her has really been healing like so many layers deep. So I say that to say that it's really, really, really beneficial, I think, to look at the goddesses that show up within your heritage, Mexican, Indian, anywhere that you come from. You will have a goddess that has, you know, been there before you. Words. And I think those are like the three most simple and basic ways that you can step into goddess work. And I think that if you are sort of in a beginner stage, or if you're just not feeling as confident as one would when it comes to embarking on this kind of healing journey, that I think those are the beautiful ways to kind of step into it and just get yourself acquainted with a goddess. When it comes to actually working with her, obviously that's like a whole separate thing, but one of the elements to it is making sure that her symbology and her offerings are fresh and frequent and vibrant and accessible, and also just, you know, having that conversation, really getting familiar with what her energy is and how you may be lacking in that energy, and having a clairvoyant conversation with her in terms of how you can bring that energy into your physical space and into your physical body. So if you're working with a goddess that is embodying this sense of like fertility and abundance, and you feel sort of like lackluster in comparison, figure out why, work with her to see how you can sort of bring that energy back into your experience. As far as activating your inner goddess goes, I have an entire video on that is really thorough. I also do workshops and one-on-ones, so if you want to check out any of that, I advise you to. But otherwise, I said that I would keep this video short, so I'm going to leave it at that. But I hope, I wish you all the luck in terms of your journey. I think it's one of the best parts of like the spiritual journey. I think I've been doing so much shadow work lately, which is important and necessary, but also a lot sometimes. So it's cool to let myself marinate a little bit on like the more fun and lighter parts of the spiritual journey, which is goddess work, I think, or at least part of it. So have fun, let me know any feedback or any ways in which this has shown up for you, which goddesses are showing up for you, which goddesses have your attention, and yeah, and if you have any other goddesses that you want to recommend other people to work with, please leave them below, because I'm always looking for new goddesses. And otherwise, yeah, feel free to subscribe if you feel called to. Check out my Instagram at JasmineKylene or LaLilaLuna.tv for more conscious content. And yeah, that's it. Also, it's hurricaning. Who is the goddess of rain? Let me just show you what's going on right now. Is it still recording? Look at that. Can you see that rain? You can't even look at the sky. That's my sunflower. There's not much sun for it. Anyway, the microphone came off, so I'm gonna hold it like this. Love you. Goodbye.